Our Mind by Marianne Thorne. The creative goal setting program works better with an understanding of how our mind works. We can use a model or an analogy to explain our mind, which is not visible or physical, unlike the brain that is an organ with physical functions. The mind is an invisible but measurable electromagnetic field. In creative goal setting, we use 3 icebergs joined at the base below the waterline to illustrate 3 areas of our mind. This iceberg model is portraying 1 to 10% of the mind as conscious. In other words, we are only aware of a small part of our mind, the part doing the thinking. The conscious mind thinks. It judges, decides, discerns, concludes, etc. It does self-talk or internal dialogue, this being the thought process you are familiar with. The conscious aspect of our mind is the awareness of physical and non-physical surroundings. Awareness is the interpretation of data from the 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. The other parts have specific functions also. The subconscious mind stores. It has stored every experience you have ever had since conception and more. It stores all the data from your 5 senses and all the positive and negative thoughts you've ever had. This includes your peripheral vision and hearing of data and events you are not consciously aware of, yet that are happening in your vicinity. It systematically accumulates thoughts and feelings, storing them with emotions by word and/or experience association. For example, what do you think of when I ask you to think of cat? Some people respond with black or fluffy or matte or even large yellow tractors, depending on what they have associated cat with in their past, along with the emotion associated with it. The superconscious mind creates. This part of our mind creates our reality. It materializes the outcomes of all thoughts, experiences, and associations, including our emotional responses as stored in the subconscious mind. There are many names given to the superconscious part of the mind. Some people call it God, Great Spirit, Higher Self, consciousness, etc. I call it consciousness with a capital C. Yet I know it is an ever-expanding, self-aware, intelligent, creative, energetic field. The effect our thoughts have on our day-to-day life are most easily explained with the story of Fred, a teenage cyclist. While Fred is out cycling, he has an idea. He thinks a thought. His thought is, I want to win a gold medal. Assume the middle iceberg is Fred's mind. It is at the tip of the iceberg on the conscious level that this thought first occurs to Fred, as indicated by the light bulb and the gold medal. In the same instant Fred has this conscious thought, the thought is stored in the subconscious mind. The thought is stored through word and/or experience association. The subconscious mind has already stored every experience and thought that Fred has ever had. In a flash of an instant, the subconscious mind scans its memory bank looking for any previous thoughts or experiences that Fred has associated with winning, gold, medal, and indirectly, cycling. In Fred's subconscious mind is a forgotten memory of an experience that happened when he was about 4 years old. Fred's father had entered him in a children's running race. This experience starts with him nervously standing in a line with other children. He was not sure what was expected of him, but he could tell from his father's eagerness that it was important that he win. He was not sure how to win, so decided to follow the other children. The starting gun went off, making him jump with fright. The other children started running, so Fred did too. There was lots of laughter and encouragement from the parents on the sidelines. However, Fred heard his father yell, "Stop, Fred, stop! You're running in the wrong direction." Fred, confused, stopped running. His father came to him and laughingly said, "You silly little thing, you can't win when you're running in the wrong direction." Fred felt he had failed. He felt miserable. He didn't understand why, after all, he had just followed the other children. Fred's subconscious mind recorded the whole event, including his father's words, based on his emotions as a negative experience. The words "can't win," loaded with all these feelings of failure and confusion, became associated with racing events or situations in Fred's subconscious mind. In creative goal setting, we call these accumulated negative thoughts and emotions distractions. Later, these negative emotions tend to distract us or stop us from receiving our goals. We all have distractions in our subconscious mind, sabotaging our ideas and efforts from time to time. When a new idea, such as I want to win a gold medal, is recorded, the subconscious mind associates it with data already stored. In Fred's case, with negative, out-of-date, distracting data and emotions from his childhood, which have since developed with plenty of additional emotion compounding the issue. The new thought now evolves. In Fred's subconscious mind, it is now stored as I can't win a gold medal, along with all the sabotaging and distracting emotion that is attached to the memory. The subconscious version of the composite thought, I can't win a gold medal, is picked up by the superconscious aspect of Fred's mind in the same instant. In fact, this whole process is happening in the same instant of time that Fred is having the original thought of, I want to win a gold medal. Our superconscious mind creates. It creates the outcomes to all the thoughts with their associated feelings as it finds them stored in the subconscious mind. It does not judge and or change the messages it receives, as judgment only happens in the conscious, thinking level of our mind. Our superconscious is the part of us that connects us to all else in our reality, as shown by the bottom section of the 3 icebergs where they are joined at the base. Unfortunately, this iceberg model cannot really illustrate the omnipresence of this creative electromagnetic force, but like the air and the water in the sea, sky, and ice, it is everywhere. The superconscious creates, materializes the stored version of all thoughts in the subconscious mind as outcomes on the conscious level. Remember, what we think of consciously may not be the same as what is stored in the subconscious part of our mind. It is these contradictions that we must sort out. The way we consciously perceive and experience the outcomes in our life is known as our reality, which is providing us with feedback as to what is stored in our subconscious mind. Back to Fred. He has a subconscious, composite thought, I can't win a gold medal. The superconscious can materialize this as an outcome in many ways. For many people, it would appear on the conscious level as I'm not fit enough. Now, it just so happens that Fred is physically fit. He is passionate about long-distance cycling and cycles a lot, but he still has a negative subconscious thought, I can't win, operating in his subconscious mind. The superconscious is creating outcomes based on this negative message in Fred's subconscious mind. As a result, each time he enters a cycling race, he gets a puncture or takes a wrong turn or is disqualified for not complying with the rules or crashes or is sick and cannot compete, or the event is scheduled at a time when his family has an important occasion he must attend, or at a place that he cannot get to, or he hasn't enough money to pay for his starting fee. The list goes on, all of which leaves him feeling confused and unable to control this aspect of his life. Fred is being distracted or sabotaged by his own long-forgotten memories tucked away in his subconscious mind since he was a small boy. The confusion and apathy he feels needs to be recognized and handled. These outcomes are feedback for Fred. If he won more cycling races, he would have the feedback that his subconscious mind is clear of, as in not clogged up with any emotional distractions on this subject. Unfortunately, this is not the case for Fred. Fred has now lost many cycling races due to varying physical reasons. With this sort of negative feedback, many people would give up, starting a cycle of self-destructive self-talk. This self-talk would most likely start with, why me? Whenever we ask, why me, we are setting ourselves into the potential trap of being a victim of our circumstances. The answers to why bounce back from the conscious level in the form of excuses, reasons, and justifications, with ourself or other people and situations to blame. Asking why only gets answers from the conscious level. If Fred asked why, he would come up with justifications for not winning, reasons for taking wrong turns, getting punctures, etc., which he would be able to do nothing or very little about. He would conclude that other people and or elements were involved and that it was their fault. Even if there was no other people or elements involved, he would blame himself and justify the events with excuses. Blaming and justifying will not change the outcome. There will always, well, nearly always, be physical and or psychological reasons for the outcomes we are experiencing. Many of these reasons will appear to be out of our control. Yet our ability to use our awareness to change our emotional attachment to these issues assures us emotional freedom in the present to use our intelligence, our mind, to rethink, reprogram our reality. Some people give up, walking away feeling like they've failed, dropping into despondency or apathy. Others use their willpower to force a change in the situation by taking control. For example, using their willpower to push their body beyond its capability, such as cycling with a damaged knee beyond its endurance. And there are people who direct their willpower at others like schoolyard bullies, cheating cyclists, and other domineering personalities. Fred does not fit either of these two categories, failure or bully, yet he wants to create the change in his reality that he needs while taking care of the highest good of all concerned. In other words, success without forcing or bullying anyone or anything. Fred knows that all the outcomes in his life are the result of the way he thinks and feels, so chooses to reprogram his subconscious mind. He knows that he needs to change what his subconscious mind is storing if he wants to change the results in his life and in his reality. Fred changes the programming by creating awareness of the feedback within his reality. He asks questions, although there's two questions he doesn't need to ask, because the answer to who is me. Only we can program our subconscious with what we specifically want. And the answer to when is always now. The subconscious mind only works in present tense time. It stores all data in present tense at the time it happens and keeps it that way until it is updated. So avoidance and procrastination will not change anything. So for Fred and the rest of us, it is best to keep it simple by asking one how or what question at a time and then to action the answer. This does not require lengthy soul-searching processes. In fact, we can usually keep this super easy by simply writing the positive opposite to the negative outcomes we are aware of into the relevant areas of our creative goal-setting program. For those of us with a tendency to ask why, we have a solution. It's better to use what in our question, like Fred does. After another failed event, Fred asks, "What do I need to know to win cycling events?" Fred's conscious reality provides a hint in response to his what question that leads to his answer while in a conversation with his father. One of the topics mentioned was about Fred's sister winning a 100-metre sprint. A vision flashed across the screen of Fred's mind, a vision of when he was a small child in that disappointing running race. He hadn't thought of it since he was 4. Through word and experience association, his memory was triggered. He recalled lining up with the other children, getting a fright from the starter gun, and then running until his father's words of, "Stop, Fred, stop. You're running in the wrong direction." Now Fred understands how he had associated winning a gold medal with, "You silly little thing, you can't win by running in the wrong direction." His father's words. Fred was able to use this insight in his personal creative goal-setting folder. He opened it to the relevant area and wrote with coloured markers in the tangible expectations column of his distinction sheet, "I am winning all cycling events I enter." And he wrote, "I am a winner," in the personal values column. As this was very important to Fred, he also wrote a detailed thank you letter thanking his superconscious in advance for the best possible outcome he could imagine. Just pumping in positive thoughts or affirmations suggested by other people can miss the mark and only superficially affect the outcome, like painting over the rust in an old car. It is important to write our own affirmations, positive thoughts, constructively and specifically dealing with our own issues as we take personal responsibility for the reprogramming of our own subconscious mind. Fred has written a positive statement that is the positive opposite to the feedback from his reality. He didn't need to wait for his flashback. The statement would have been the same if he'd simply written the positive opposite to his negative outcomes. Fred has actively evolved the original thought and/or emotional decision that was distracting his outcomes and has now turned the distraction into an opportunity for great things to appear in his reality, his life. There are already many existing opportunities in the subconscious mind. The more opportunities in our subconscious mind created by dealing with emotional distractions, the more positive our attitude. The point is to lessen the grip our emotions have on any topic, issue, goal, etc., to enable our intelligence to shine a light on the situation. As a result of Fred taking personal responsibility for his outcomes in his life by making the necessary changes to his way of thinking, the results in his physical reality, his conscious level of his mind, change. By observing his outcomes and continuing to deal with and change any negative results or feedback or distractions into positive opposite ideas in his creative goal setting folder, Fred is able to reprogram his reality for more positive outcomes. Even during a race, he can activate immediate inspiration by asking, "What can I do to win this event?" Or, "How should I take this corner?" Or, "What do I need to do to get past this other cyclist?" With these how what questions, constructive communication, or coaching skills, Fred starts winning cycling events. In Australia, if you win each event, you can eventually win a gold medal. Fred did by asking questions. Asking how or what questions is the key to unlocking the grip that emotions have on the subconscious mind and on our attitude, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Acting on the answers to how or what questions achieves goals. Writing the answers to how or what questions in the creative goal setting folder accumulates personal wisdom. The combination of these three aspects of our mind, our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, are creating all the outcomes in life. The subconscious mind is either working for us, offering opportunities, or against us, offering distractions for the superconscious mind to materialize. It is up to us to use the conscious mind to sort this out. Have a look at all your relationships. Your relationship with yourself, with other people, your home, contribution, money, resources, etc. If there are any negative outcomes in any of these areas or these relationships, you now have the tools to change the negative into positive. As an example, school grades, like other achievements, are the result of students' subconscious thoughts. If they think they cannot do better at school, they are absolutely right, because they are programming themselves for less success. This in turn can cause less study, less understanding, less interest, focus, attendance, etc. School grades suffer from subconscious distractions happening in other areas of life also. Changing negative situations and or associations into opportunities in one area of life can have an effect on other areas too. If you believe there is a possibility you can achieve something and you program your subconscious mind positively by actioning the answers to your how or what questions, you will achieve it. Ask yourself, how do I change? ... Or what do I need to get? ... Or what do I need to know to receive? ... Or any similar questions with how or what in them. Wait for the answer. It could appear in any form, often as simple as the positive opposite to our current reality. The answer may be an immediate intuitive thought or come as an inspirational thought triggered by a conversation, an event, an omen, somebody's behavior, anything. Children, animals, trees, traffic, etc. all become guides, mirrors, links with our subconscious mind. Asking why questions only guide us to reflect on and or research the cause of a situation, while asking how or what questions are asking for constructive solutions from our higher mind. And remember, the good things happening in our life are also the result of our subconscious and superconscious mind. Remember to appreciate your blessings, your wins, and your achievements, as this reinforces the positive programming of your subconscious mind. Both the conscious and the subconscious minds are our human aspects connecting us to our superconscious, our consciousness. The more we clear our subconscious mind of emotional distractions and emotional attachments to thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that no longer work for us, the more we feel in touch with our own higher intelligence, our innate intelligence, our superconscious, our higher mind. With this knowledge, we can make the most of our experience here on Earth.